Hello, welcome back. So, we've got a few things to cover before we get to the group as a whole. Caitlin you're doing your thing in the library, so that's good. Yeah, pretty much. Other than the fact that Ben wanted to sit down with people and only got so far into that this week, everybody's during the week stuff I think has been addressed. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Brooks being yeah, that's right. Because Brooks doing the hollow thing. Natalie is doing. Oh, that's right. Natalie had her email to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, did you want to do that on screen?
I don't know if we'd be able to get to it tonight, just because time. So.
I don't imagine that that's going to take very long. Or did you want to leave it as more of a ambiguous background element?
I'd be fine with doing it on screen.
All right, on screen it is. So, yeah, so we are going to start with Yumiko, who received a note at her college dorm, which seems to be the primary way that the other kindred have to get a hold of her. And it read as, Nayla wants to speak with you. She said, oh wait, no, that's... Yeah, it just says, Nayla wants to speak with you. She says it'll be, quote, at a safe place for our people, and private enough we can talk freely. Meet at Saturday night at, insert address here. I will be there all night, so arrive at your leisure. End of the note. And it was delivered like I said, to her dorm. So that was that was Friday evening. It was dropped off for a Saturday night get together. So when Yumiko ends up looking up the address, it is at... One moment. It's another nightclub. But this one is called 7 Feet Under. And it's in central Seattle. So she has a little bit of a drive to get over there. Now, Yumiko, since the note didn't call for you bringing any of your friends, are you having anybody come... Would you be having anyone come with you for this? Or are you going to go deal with it as your own thing? Because you were the only one summoned to this.
As much as she probably would like to bring friends, I think she might go alone since she wasn't told to bring anybody else with her.
Alrighty, so that will be the scene that we open up with. So, welcome back everyone, as I said, to another week as we walk on the path of fate. You know what? Screw it. That was not the song I intended to click on, but I'm just gonna move on. Fuck production quality. I'm sorry, Josh.
But my production quality!
Whatever, we don't do anything in post.
I have the means to do it. I really should get a better program. That one kind of sucked.
We will discuss this later. Anyway, so Yumiko, what vehicle does she drive again?
Oh god.
We should put this on your character sheet.
A new quote unquote used 2017 Volkswagen Jetta.
Okay, I am marking that down right now. Car.
It's on the sheet. It's on page 3.
Okay. I just put it into the biography section too. Alright, cool. So you drive up I-5. It's at night. But like a lot of cities of this size, Seattle quiets down in the evening, but it never stops. I-5 doesn't have a ton of traffic, but as you start getting to the city limits proper, there's always somebody within sight. There's always at least 2 or 3 cars that are heading the same direction as you. Very few leaving the city. Not at this time of the evening. You follow your phone's GPS and well, actually, that begs the question. That actually, are you using your phone's GPS or are you using something else?
Well, considering she used to hunt around the Seattle area before told not to, I think she might know the way there.
She was in Tacoma.
Yeah, but she hunted in Seattle. Between
Seattle is a large city.
with a lot of clubs.
Yes. An hour away from Tacoma. So you're saying that are you saying that she already knows where 7 feet under is?
No, she uses her own GPS like I would.
She just had to heckle you a little bit, didn't she?
Well, the reason why I was asking is because she could have printed out the directions from Google or something. But I will make a note of that then. That she.
But she wouldn't start using it at the Haven or at her dorm.
Okay.
She would make sure it's somewhere else where they couldn't track it back if they ever got a hold of her phone.
Okay. So, you get to where the club is. You realize there's an attached parking garage, which parking garages are definitely common in Seattle proper. An attached dedicated parking garage for a club, not quite as much. Usually it's, much big, like a dedicated parking garage for a block. But no, there you end up pulling into this side thing. Sorry, I'll give me 30 seconds.
I'm timing it.
Apparently, I have to go grab a thing. So yeah, I will be back in a minute or 3.
Yes, he's gone. Anarchy!
Down with the authority! Eat the rich!
Gross.
I mean, they're probably nice and fatty.
And full of caviar.
Yeah, but they also got good health care, so they're gonna be, they're not gonna be full of diseases and stuff.
Corruption is a disease.
Yeah, but it's more of a mental one. You don't contribute mental ones by eating them.
Unless you eat their soul.
Exactly.
I think mad cow disease begs to differ.
That's why it's parasite.
No, actually, mad cow disease is a prion disease. It's a malformed protein that causes a cascading change in proteins in your body that are bad for your.
Huh? I thought it was a parasite.
Nope.
The more you know.
Alright, I'm back.
Come back.
So what did
Welcome
I
back.
miss?
Anarchy, eating the rich, and prion disease.
Okay, so
that
yeah,
order.
Sunday.
Right, Sunday.
Alright. So as I was saying, you pull into this parking garage. It actually, unlike most of them where the parking garage is a built-up structure, this one, the parking garage, much to the, similar to the name of the club itself, as soon as you turn in, you go down. It ramps down before you even get to the access gate. You check once you get to the point of checking in, and you pay for. One second. Anyway, you get to the gate, get yourself checked in, and give me one moment again. I apologize.
A wimboe, a wimboe, a wimboe, a wimboe.
Thanks. Now it's stuck in my head.
You're welcome.
Okay, now let's see if I can finish describing a parking garage of all things. So, like I said, you drive downward underground, get to the gate, and you get yourself checked in. You have to pay for parking, but it's one of those like $5 for 3 hours, $12 for overnight. So you don't expect to have to do much. You get yourself all parked and you start following the signs towards where the club is. 7 feet under follows, unlike Nayla's place in Tacoma, which has a very posh and decadent aesthetic. This one is how to put it, this one's bright, this one's modern, it's very contemporary, but it's all tempered with this almost Victorian aesthetic. Like, you've got, like, shortly after you walk into the club proper and you get ID'd, to make sure you're old enough. Which, Mika, I'm assuming you flipped them the Tsukiko ID.
Yes.
Okay. At that point, when you're looking around at some of the other patrons, these people, like, you've got one guy who's in a coat and tails kind of a styled thing, but you can tell that this is not a high-end one because it's designed for being at a dance club. Partially because where you would have the that white, the ruffled shirt down the middle, right along that hem. This whole thing is one piece, you can tell, and he's got. You can't tell if it's LEDs or if it's like glow sticks that are down that hem, going down either side of his torso. There's somebody else who's got, one of those like big poofy white wigs that's got little glowing specks in it, and you see people walking out onto the dance floor where everything's covered in a black light, and people that are all make-upped up and whatnot. And this is you can tell that, well, you came here on a Saturday. It is busy, it is loud, and everyone is having a good time, and everyone smells delicious.
Oh my.
You can see that there's some people over in one of the corners that are, some sort of oh, is this the thing I think it is? Oh, that's way louder than I wanted it to be. There's some sort of, I don't want to say deal going down, but you're pretty sure that somebody just got handed something to take along with their drink. There's the whole, everything in this room is just charged with sex and alcohol and drugs, and the deva in you just sighs happily, because your beast as a deva is different than the beast of another clan. You are all about the indulgence of your vice in particular, and your vanity is just, oh yes, please, just let me swim in this. And the person that checked your ID, you see them speak into their wrist, and that's a peripheral thing. Your eyes are fixated on everything else that's happening in here, and then you're kind of brought back into this little bit of a conversation here. And as he just very lightly puts his hand on your shoulder, Miss Tsukiko, your party is this direction. And he kind of passes you off to one of the waiters who's giving out drinks to people off at their booths. He just kind of has his little tray off to his side. He says, "Right this way, please."
Okay. And she just follows him.
That's not the one I want either. Where did it go? We'll go with that one. So, you come walking up towards what looks like a VIP room. Closed door. It's covered in like some sort of black satin fabric. He pulls the latch, opens the door for you, steps inside, holds it open, and gestures for you to go in. You can see Nayla on the other side of a rectangular table.
She just slowly bows her head, politely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is like there's one seat on each end of the table, and then there's 3 seats on each of the sides. So where are you going to go ahead and pop down?
I'm not sure. Probably where the 3 seats are. That way she has like some wiggle room.
So like just in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So you head over and you sit down. You hear the door close as you're walking in. And Nayla just kind of smiles up at you, and she goes from the leaning back in her seat as she had been, almost slouching even. She goes from that to shifting forward, and she rests her elbows on the edge of the table and just kind of clasps her hands together. And it's wonderful to see you again, Tsukiko.
You as well.
So, there are two people tonight that I needed you to meet, but I wanted to talk with you for a little bit first. I feel like there may have been a poor impression at the end of our last meeting where you were at my haven. I know that in some regards I potentially came off as domineering, and that is not the way that I like to try and lead the Deva. We are too much of a free-spirited clan for somebody to try and keep their fingers in absolutely everything. But the fact that Harold and you are a thing such as it is kind of put me off, because if I'll be perfectly frank with you, young lady, the fact that Harold is creating a child and going against tradition is concerning, and I'm glad that he at least decided to bring it up with me, but I put a significant amount of trust in our family, our clan, and I feel as if that is not being reciprocated by your sire. So I wanted to discuss something with you. I know that he created you as an asset, and that also seems, as much as he may try to sugarcoat as a being for your benefit, I feel like he's taking advantage of you. And she just gives you this very, like, pretty sincere, sympathetic look. So, I wanted to start by asking, what is your thought on the situation?
In all honesty, I have no thought about it. I don't know what to tell you about it. Except that I am just as in the dark as you are.
I would say that he has probably kept you very much more in the dark than me, because Tsukiko, I will be blunt with you, because you are young and you deserve at least that much. And so this is what I'm going to offer you. Harold is a doting sire. I saw his last child before they... The last child that he had created lacked any sense of prudence or propriety, and, well, they... After attempting to oust a few people in ways that are considered very, very rude, they saw the sun again. And Harold was warned that he needs to be more careful and better as a teacher. The fact that You. Do you really have no thoughts or opinions on what's going on right now? Or are you saying that to be polite?
I really have no thoughts. Opinions are my own. And why would I not be polite?
Which
You are
is
higher rank than I am, aren't you?
yes and no. I am the in most any city, the position of a crisis is very much an honorary one, and it comes with next to no actual authority. The Prince of Seattle and of SeaTac has chosen within his domain to recognize it as a full position within his within his court, like courtiers and such, because of the sheer volume of us that are within this area. I believe that as the prince puts it, delegation means that he gets more time to do other things and deal with things that only specifically need his attention. So, the limit of my authority and what that rank actually means is very ambiguous. Functionally, I am allowed to do, as a Prisus, as the leader of the Deva, whatever I so choose for the rulership of our clan, so long as it does not start becoming a problem for our society as a whole. You understand?
Of course.
Now, I she kind of gestures like at her dress, which she's definitely a lot more in theme with this club than her own at the moment. I like the pageantry and the presentation, but you have been walking these nights for 2 months now, correct? Somewhere around there.
Correct.
So, for the sake of clarity, I am going to be very forthright with you. I genuinely do not trust that your sire has your best interests in mind. I believe that he turned you to be an asset. Here, he embraced you to be an asset. And he has historically been one to ramble ad nauseum about many a conspiracy theory. He's sometimes right, he's often wrong, and often enough, when he is right, it is important. But it has been years since he's been right, and it is proving problematic. And so what I propose is, and again, believe me when I say that I do not like trying to be domineering about this, but I am going to functionally be your tutor.
She kind of gives her a look.
What kind of a look?
Like a, are you sure about this kind of look? And what the hell are you talking about kind of look?
She just kind of smiles, and I understand that it sounds odd, but it is normally very much of a faux pas for another kindred to overstep the tutelage boundaries of sire and child. But I do not believe that you deserve to have the same tutelage that had Harold's last child staked on a roof. You have
By
had.
what?
I'm sorry?
By what, though?
Staked on a roof by the sheriff.
Ah,
It is not often that a punishment within kindred society comes to outright final death, but sometimes it's necessary.
even though my sire has done me no harm yet? At all?
I'm not saying that he is going to be put to the sun, or that you are. What I'm saying is, I do not believe that he will teach you our ways appropriately, that you can come into the society prepared. And if Harold is so convinced that there is some sort of coup or concern that he needs you to investigate on his behalf as fresh eyes, as he put it, and he is not willing to actually provide any of these details, he's going to start trying. He's done this so many times before. He's going to start trying to use you to undermine other kindred, start causing a potential collapse of our society within the CTAC domain. And I have no idea on if he's actually even on the level at the moment, or if this is just him trying to indulge in one of his fantasies. I am not going to ask you to do anything uncouth. You're far too young for anybody to respect that, even if we did. But I am offering a number of things here. For one, tutelage in how our particular skills work. Trying to teach you how to use, well, what I can teach you. And to try and teach you how I believe the phrase is, "Oh, these wicked webs we weave." And she kind of just does like a little shoulder shuffle and whatnot, like she's being funny. How these webs are all connected, which strings to pull.
And which one not to pull to alert the spider?
Exactly. And Harold's webs, in particular, are anchored in some ways that is slightly problematic, and they're also anchored in ways that I don't know about. So what I wanted to ask, and keeping in mind, the phrase asking is loose at the moment. I need to know what Harold is up to, what he has you do, and what particular assets that he has. Because if it seems that Harold Sanchez has I'm trying to say this in a way that's not ominous or threatening. And that's when you hear from directly across the table from you.
Hmm?
So like somebody did like a snorting laugh, but there's only you two in the room. And Nayla just kind of like it's not like a freeze of like concern. Like she's obviously not concerned about this, but like she just got called out on something, and it's that thing of like it's that freezing of like, how fucking dare you. She just kind of smiles and shakes her head slowly. And that would be your prince. The air in front of you shimmers, and you see this sitting across the table from you, in a turtleneck sweater and a loose jacket. And he is smiling just like that. Roll me your okay, so are you going to try to not make a face? Or are you just gonna do it?
I'm gonna try to not make a face.
Roll me your resolve plus your composure. Also, I am marking one of your willpower dots because of the scene that happened with you and Ben with the lunacy thing.
Okay.
Okay, so congratulations, you got a success. You do. What expression do you want to present when he appears?
Kind of a. She stays deadpan expression, but her eyes kind of like widen at the sudden appearance of him. But it was like a split second of it.
And he's smiling at you just like that, and his eyes kind of he slightly turns his head and his eyes go to Nayla. I like her. See, she didn't scream like the last one did. Tsukiko, this is Prince Corbin Harding of SeaTac. And that's when he pulls his hands up to set them on top of the table, and his fingers are like probably 2 inches longer than they should be. And they're super bony. Like his skin looks as stretched over his hands as the skin on his face does. And he offers one hand to you to shake. Pleasure to meet you.
Am I allowed to shake your hand?
Well, I mean, I did offer first.
She takes his hand and shakes it. Good to meet you too.
He is surprisingly gentle, and you can tell that this motherfucker used lotion when he was alive. So, Tsukiko, right? As he eases back into his chair, and he's just kind of slouches back into it. I'm gonna save Nayla trying to resist her whole pomp and whatever. I am a very straightforward kind of guy. When you look like me, subtlety just flies out the window. So, here's the skinny. Harold Sanchez, your sire, right? He's far from a bad guy. Has an aversion to, like, some of his habits bug me. He is always wearing no less than 3 shirts.
And no socks.
Fuck! See, she gets it, Nayla! And Nayla's just kind of like slowly closing her eyes. Anyway, your price is here. Right after Harold that conversation with you and Harold and your 2 buddies and Nayla here, I was standing right next to Nayla. So, I know how all that went down. Harold is a sketchy dude. I mean, we're all sketchy. Like, again, friggin' look at me. But sketchy in a potentially problematic way. So this is the deal. In any other city, the fact that you were not immediately brought to my Elysium to speak with me, to introduce yourself and receive my blessing, to hunt within what is my domain, you would be put to death. Your fault or not, like, if you were in Minneapolis, they'd have killed you right then and there. Stake through the chest, shove you in a fucking trash compactor, call it a dumpster fire. But I'm a Nosferatu. My clan, we're used to being bullied around. Nobody wants to go talk to the sewer rats, just regardless of how much we know. So, I have tried to be as fair of a prince as I can. You are not responsible for your sire's issues. You are not responsible for your sire not telling you to come talk to me. But that leniency is going to come with a price. We need help trying to figure out what Harold's up to. And in exchange, you will be able to operate under this with my blessing. So, if some blue blood... Wait, Nayla, have you told her about the nicknames? And Nayla just kind of shakes her head slowly and then turns to look at you. Did Harold?
Yumiko shakes her head.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Alright. He told you there's a bunch of clans, right? You're a Deva. You're with Nayla. She's your clan leader. There's like a bunch of other clans and organizations and all that jazz. Nosferatu, they don't all look like me, as he kind of like makes a gesture over his face. But we are all messed up. Like, bad. I knew one guy that didn't have any lips or a nose. That was weird looking. Benefit to being dead, though, he didn't have any allergies anymore. But, regardless. What was I getting at?
Blue blood, sir.
Right, thank you. See, I appreciate this gal. Anyway. If some blue blood, one of the Ventru, they're the kind of domineering sorts of people. If one of them is all like, how dare you try and, like, look at this place, or like, obviously, I want you to try and be as subtle as you can, but if it comes down to, like, somebody thinks that you have overstepped your authority as a youngin', you can be like, hey, let's talk to Corbin. And honestly, most of the time, if you're like, hey, I'm doing this because the prince told me, most people at least have the presence of mind to let you do what you're doing and then check in after. But if they're like, no, I'm going to do it right fucking now, then, you know, call me. And so long as you can make it make sense to me, I'll back you. And I want you to understand something here. I don't know you. You don't know me. I get that this is a whole lot of, you have a bunch of strangers telling you to do crap that you probably don't have any interest in and never have. And I am giving you a lot of power here, with the caveat that if I feel like you're overstepping stuff, I'll yank the rug out from under you, but we have a project to work on. I need you to work with Nayla on this, because Harold almost exposed us to the humans once already. But in a way where it all fell down on his child, not on him. And, you know, fool me once, fool me twice. This is starting to look like he's trying to fool us twice.
I see. So you
So
want me to be your eyes and ears?
I want you to be our eyes and ears, and if it turns out that he is off the deep end, like we kind of think that he probably is, like, he is off the deep end. Friggin' dude is nuts. But off the deeper end, you, over the course of this, have a lot to gain. The favor of the prince of the domain, the favor of your prices, and probably most, if not all, of the holdings of your sire.
I see.
Because the truth of the matter here is, Tsukiko, you got yanked into a situation none of us ever wanted to be in. We all did. But your situation especially sucks. Because some of the traditionalists are one of those people where the sins of the father and all that jazz, they apply that to us. Especially since the father in this case gets a lot more of a choice on who they have as a kid. And from what I gather, you just met him. You got like first date embraced. And he hit you with the Deva roofie too. So that's not any fucking better.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, you really got the short end of this. So I sympathize, which is why I'm offering to help you out, because I'm getting tired of his antics. I don't know, Nayla, do you have anything else to add to that? She just kind of shrugs and looks over at Yumiko and... Tell us what you're thinking.
Why me?
Because it's Harold's fault at this point. You are, for some reason, in his current delusion of paranoia, he believes that you are on his side. And it would make sense that to one extent or another you are, because he is right now your lifeline.
And if I don't do this, I basically lose my life. Right?
No, I'm not gonna stake you to a roof just because you said no. If you say no to this, I would definitely advise you not say no to this. But just understand that if us looking into stuff on our own ends up turning out that Harold was a problem, you will want to leave SeaTac.
Understood. But what do I gain from all this? Besides a new teacher.
Well, a teacher that'll actually show you stuff. But two sides to this coin. One is he's on the level. He's good to go. You end up still earning favor with your prices and your prince. And then we help you get established while Harold has you do whatever it is Harold has you doing. You maintain good relations with your sire. And you get to stay in the area you grew up in, Yumiko.
She just looks at him.
I don't know you personally, but I'm not going to offer this kind of firepower to somebody without looking into them. Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, outside of this meeting, I'll remember your name, Tsukiko. But, as far as what you have to gain here, again, if he's on the level, you're on good feet with a lot of us. You will be compensated for that. What that would be will determine based on what's going on, what's available at the time. If he's off and we need to deal with it, everything Harold owns, he has been one of us since, like, what was it, like the 30s? He hasn't been in SeaTac that whole time, but he's got some nice shiny things. And it would not be the first time that one of us has had an engineered collapse of financial assets. I mean, hell, have you seen his car?
Yes.
He has 20 of those. Your sire is fucking loaded. Like, really, the only thing that we can't promise you are his ghouls.
She just shudders a bit. Ugh.
Oh, so he did tell you about ghouls. Awesome.
To a point, yes.
Ghouls, super helpful. But I get it. Unfortunately, if you have concerns about that whole compelling people to do things bit, you're a deva. that's like your guys' whole thing. The only guys that are worse about it are the friggin' blue bloods. Because you just make people want to do stuff. They tell you to do stuff.
Sounds so dominant.
Exactly. The kicker is, they don't give you a safe word. So. See, Naila, she laughed. I don't care if it was forced or not. I like this one. It's about time somebody around here thinks I'm fucking funny.
Alright, I'll bite.
I'm proud. See, they grew up so fast.
She just kind of cringes. That was not intentional, but yeah, I think you get the point. I'll help.
Alright. So, here's how this is gonna go. I got one of my guys, and he, again, kind of gestures towards his face, working with Naila. They followed you to that auction deal. Some of his lookouts, died. Weird. Okay, so I know you showed up with a bunch of friends. Does anybody have I don't, if they are not kindred, I do not care what they are or what they're doing, as long as they are not a problem for our people. So what I want to know, does one of your guys have the ability to strangle things without being seen?
To answer honestly, not that I know of.
Alright. Then, the next time you're spending time with Harold, I want you to try and ask what kinds of things he can do. Because one of my guys was keeping an eye on what was going on at that courthouse, and his lookouts got strangled by the air. And he does like the air quotes thing as he says it. So Either one of your guys did it, Harold did it, or we got a mystery third party in on this crap. So, your first job is, well, I shouldn't say job, because it's like, this is going to be a thing that takes time. First priority, figure out what kinds of like financial and real estate assets and stuff Harold's got. Figure out what disciplines he's got. And figure out what it is he's so paranoid is happening that he made you. If there is a point where you're not sure if you should do the thing he says, talk to Nayla. Because by blood, and hold on 1 second.
Matt needs a lozenge.
Yeah, I kind of do. Holy crap. Anyway. Alright, 1 second. More mics. Alright. He kind of puts his hands on the table again, he stands up. And he reaches up and he snaps a finger, and 2 more Nosferatu fade into view. One of them is like, his face looks bloated, like he got stung by a bee right as he was embraced or something. And his eyes, instead of like being sharp and angular like the prince's, are you can see this super faint red glow from behind them that illuminates his very pudgy face. And the other one, average build, looks just fine, but his hair, like, you could break 2 or 3 brushes on this guy's hair trying to brush it all out, and while his skin is just fine and his build is just fine, he feels super slimy. And then there's also, to your side... Oh, no, sorry, it is just those 2. Crap, I did this wrong. It's 2 women. My bad, I was reading the wrong line here. But yeah, descriptions are still the same, though. This is our sheriff and our hound. Emma Lynn, Lauren Gardenia. They are my muscle. My muscle. Sheriff enforces tradition. Hound, she's my knee breaker. Don't have to call on them much, but this is important. Nayla, Emma, Lauren, all of you witness for this. They all just kind of nod, and he turns to look back at you. Tsukiko of Clan Deva, I formally accept you as a resident of the Seattle-Tacoma area and deputize you under the sheriff to act on the behalf of this domain for the betterment of its denizens. Do you accept this?
She bows her head. I do.
Excellent. I understand that you have an area around the Seattle-Tacoma area you would like to claim as your domain. Did I cut out?
Probably.
Okay, so he asks, like, I understand that you have an area that you want to claim as your domain. What is that? Hello?
I heard you for once.
Mika, are you alive?
Hello? I'm here.
So what places is she wanting to try and claim as her domain?
At a character, I don't know the area very well, so
You have your house in Gig Harbor, and you also have your dorm at Pacific Lutheran.
Claim PLU.
I was
Do it.
thinking that. I was thinking that. Yeah, PLU.
The whole school? One sec. Emma, we don't have anybody already claiming any parts of it, do we? The sheriff just slowly shakes her head. All right. I will double check with the Harpy to be sure. They're the kind of person that keeps track of all this crap, so I don't have to. But so long as it is not already claimed, the college is yours. Is that where you sleep?
Most of the time, yes.
Is there an additional haven or domain you would like to claim while we're being all cloak and dagger-ish?
The house, the house, the house.
Thanks, Cassie. Yes.
He just kind of is staring at you and just blink.
The house that I have.
All right. For the sake of lesson 1 from me and from Nayla, but I'm going to say it. Never let anybody know exactly where you sleep. Don't give me the address. Give me the area.
Gig Harbor.
All right. I cannot give you a whole town, but once you get home, look up what the area is. Give me, like, the neighborhood. I do not officially claim domain over Gig Harbor. That is outside of the SeaTac area and the area in between. But my word goes a long way for the guys that are running around out there. Besides, they all come to Seattle anyway to hold court, so I kind of have them by the balls. But anyway, we will double check, and I acknowledge your domains as the prince of this area. Do you have any questions for me before we call it done tonight?
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
What was Harold so skeptic about before that he caused his other child to die?
That one's complicated. You remember that TV show Deadliest Catch? The one with
Yeah.
the crabs? Alright, so you remember how on that show everybody was always super paranoid about everybody following them around. Like, oh no, this is our spot, we're putting our lines out, blah, 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 right? Harold got it in his head that the feds, like a bunch of different branches of the feds, were onto him in particular. And they weren't. Until he started trying to find where their grabbing lines were at and trying to cut them. He got so paranoid that they were trying to cage him in that by looking for these things, he almost got us all exposed. Like when he broke into an FBI archive himself. Or, not himself. He sent his child to do it. And they almost got fucking caught. Emma, the sheriff, and I, and a couple others, snuck in there, burned the fucking building down to get rid of the evidence, and got the kid out of there. But having to torch a federal building is why it got to that point.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sorry I asked.
Hey, don't be. I mean, you're not the one that needed sunscreen, and it helps prevent you from being the next one to need it. Also, there's one other thing that I wanted to add onto your little to-do list. And this one is more of a curiosity thing. It's not important in the regard of it will determine if he stays or if he has to go. But keep an eye out for if he ever says something about Malkovian.
Malkovian?
Yeah.
Duly noted.
If it comes up, I promise with witnesses, keeping in mind promises are important, if it comes up from Harold, I will explain it to you. But that is a whole can of worms that I'm hoping we don't have to go over. Like, if you think I'm ugly, that's how weird they are. But, last shot. Any other questions you want to ask me?
No.
Alright. If you need to get in contact with me, Nayla will see to it.
And how do I get in contact with Dila?
Oh, you know where my club is, dear. If you simply leave a message for me there, I can get a hold of you. Or at the very least, they will try to forward you to my... And she pulls out a little flip phone. They will get you in touch with me.
Okay.
Alright. Sobering as it is, tonight's been a fun evening. Glad I finally got to actually talk with you. Yeah, have fun. Don't have too much fun, though. If you do, name it after me. He offers his hand again to shake.
She shakes his hand.
See, Emma, he still has your hand as he like turns towards this. So you're shaking his right hand. He turns towards his right a little bit to look at the sheriff. See, Emma, she's got this. Why can't you be nice and shake my hand? Jeez, and he just kind of lets go. And as he starts walking towards the door, he starts fading from view. And you just hear Emma. Well, maybe, sir, if you weren't quite so forward and weird, it wouldn't be so awkward. Hey, it's only awkward if you make it awkward. No, your puns make it awkward. Ah, fair enough. And then the door opens. And then it closes. But no one saw any Nosferatu walk out. Nayla just... So how are you feeling after all of that?
He's kind of nice.
Weird though, right?
Honestly, when you hear the word prince, you think someone who's gonna be like domineering and overruling, but I never got that impression.
Corbin Harding runs his domain similar to how I like to run the clan. That's why he and I are on very good terms. He is very laissez-faire, as I like to be. And he does a lot to try and ensure that the city is running as smoothly as it can, while looking into his own interests. He is definitely the kind of prince where if you become his problem, he looks at it as a problem. He, as he's put it in the past, he has an open suggestion box, but the complaint box has a grenade pin in it. He is nice. He is also probably one of the most brutal men I have ever met.
So like a drill sergeant.
Sure, we'll go with
Firm
that.
when they have to be, but when they're not really on duty, they take it easy.
Firm when he's inconvenienced.
Oh.
Yeah. So, just in regards to him and the Hound and the Sheriff, as long as you stay in his good graces and his good mood, then you will be just fine. 99% of the time. What you just saw is exactly how he is. Anyway, one of the things that did not get covered is what an Elysium is. This place is one of them. There are 3 within the SeaTac area. An Elysium is, even among our own kind, despite the rivalries and potential squabbles, an Elysium is safe for all of us. This one is run by a Ventru, one of the domineering ones, as he put it, named Karen Delgado. She's a member of the Lancia Sanctum. That's another thing that I will explain to you more later. She runs this as a very tight ship. As long as you do not do anything to draw human attention, you are good. If you ever need a place to go hide, the Four Seasons Hotel and 7 Feet Under, which is here, are all places that you can go to. I will send you the address for the Prince's Elysium, which they simply refer to as the Grand Elysium. Most cities only have 1. We have 3 because of the sheer square, amount of real estate in the domain.
So basically, this is a no violence zone.
Correct. At the Four Seasons, the Master of Elysium demands that there be no disciplines used. Because it's a very high-profile Elysium. But I believe that's enough dour news for the evening. I have some other issues to address, but this Elysium is open feeding ground. Just do not leave any bodies. Understand?
Understood.
Wonderful. And she stands up from her chair, and as she walks around the table, she just puts one hand on each of your shoulders and leans down, and just puts a very light kiss on the top of your head. Squeezes just very lightly, and then starts walking towards the door. And she stops right before she opens it. Says, "I do apologize for the situation that Harold and us have put you into, but this is likely the best thing that we can do to fix it. And so I do hope that you will forgive us for this."
Seeing as you guys have no choice, and it seems you guys' backs are against the wall, I seem as your only last resort.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for being so calm about it.
I don't blame you. You aren't the one who turned me.
That's true. Anyway, try to enjoy your evening. And then she opens the door and leaves. So what does Yumiko do after that? Saturday night. The night is young. She has to
And
meet
her
up
head
her
is
friends
full.
tomorrow. She has to meet up
Night
with
is
her
young,
friends
her head
Sunday
is
night.
full. She's gonna do the usual, grab a bite since it took a Vitae to wake up, and basically just head home.
Alrighty. So, that taking slightly longer than I meant it to. I do apologize. We now get to Sunday night proper, where everybody else can be involved. It's shortly after sundown. Or maybe just right at sundown, even. Everybody's been working on their own projects during the week. And as a little bit of storyteller executive decision making, come Sunday evening is the time that everybody decided to, or has decided that from now on will be a point of being able to meet up, compare notes, see what's going on, figure out what everybody's individual skills need to be put towards for the rest of the week. And so, with the house that you guys control now being functionally completed, there's a few superficial things that need touching up, but it's been nearly a month now. And with the exception to potentially trying to upgrade the fence as Brooke's paranoia would like it to be, things are mostly set up, including what looks at first glance like a nice little dining room, complete with table and comfortable chairs. I know that Ben has been staying at the Haven. Natalie has. Caitlin's been kind of a back and forth as school lets her. And Yumiko's been back and forth as much as she can with the fact that she also has her very hands-on medical classes as well. And Brooke is just, well, she doesn't really leave the estate, but sometimes you just can't find her this week.
That's spooky.
So we'll say that Brooke and Ben and Natalie and Caitlin. Well, actually, we'll throw this out there. Yumiko's there too because she already knew she was going to have to be there at sunup or sundown. So we'll say that she crashed there on Saturday night.
Well, I did say head home. That is home.
That's true, but there's also her dorm now, given that she now has PLU.
Well, she stays there when she can't make it home before the sun
Fair.
comes up.
So everybody is kind of milling about and heading towards the dining room when Courtney, after we'll say having taken a significant nap in the evening on a Sunday, opens the door that leads to the garage and comes walking down the hallway into the dining / meeting room. And with everybody in attendance, oh, go ahead.
We're gonna have a meeting room in every game we play, aren't we?
It kind of helps when we're trying to play it with real world calendar stuff.
I'm just saying, here's society. Anyway.
No, that wasn't a meeting. That was a mission room. Thank you. Anyway, so we'll say everybody's kind of, in the room, whether they're sitting or not, kind of getting some stuff together. I imagine Caitlin's probably get like a bag of snacks or some nonsense. And then here comes Courtney. You guys have fun. I'm going to eat my dinner.
Okay. So. What do I want to have happen? Hang on. Oh, good. We're all here. How you?
Oh, you go ahead.
How you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing fine. I've been busy with the store and trying to figure out what the hell I am.
Have you been taking any other walks on the wild side?
No.
Anyway, Natalie, you were saying something?
I did find some information for you on your whole case, so I don't know if you want to step aside, talk about it, because it's I wouldn't say weird, but did you have siblings?
No, I didn't. I'm an only child.
Your parents have siblings.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, then that doesn't leave. It doesn't leave what I figured out out of the realm of possibilities. Okay.
Natalie.
She just looks at him.
By weird, do you mean weird good, weird bad?
I can't think of any way this being good, so yeah, bad.
Is it something that will cause panic in the rest of the people in this room?
Well, considering I initially thought you were a cannibal, I don't know how much more panic we can have.
There's a good
She's
and
kind
bad
of
reason
like-
for that, and we'll get to it.
Cat, stop.
Just spit it out.
I'm trying to find it actually. Hold on. Trying to reach over a cat too. Do you have any family in Minnesota?
I'd have to ask my parents, but they are. And he gives a very pregnant pause. Indisposed.
Because
So dead.
I had come across something relating to a cult in Minnesota that had some idols kind of similar to Wendigos, and I only ask about the sibling thing because the family line was created by feeding the second son of the third son the blood of their sisters and uncles.
Metal. But somehow I doubt that's something that happened with me. I mean,
It's suggested that that would have caused them to get, quote, the power to ascend into a hungry spirit. And hungry spirit was kind of, proper noun.
I'm going to have to look into this. Because nothing's referred to me so far as hungry spirit.
I posted her note in Discord. It is up to Casey on if she lets anybody read that note.
She, well, I mean, considering she probably wrote it, cat, move!
I would like to think that Natalie is also saying cat move.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's
Fugsley came out.
She's trying to bring the message up on her phone. Fugsley's like, hey, what's going on?
Natalie,
It worked better if Caitlin told him to move. Just saying.
Natalie, I had no idea that your cat was vegetarian. Ben's prepared dinner for everyone. Ben's been eating
Everyone,
everyone.
including Yumiko.
He knows she
I
can't.
pass.
He knows she can't eat it, but just out of a thing of not making her feel isolated or excluded, he prepares her a plate and a place.
Wait, a plate of what? I'm sorry, I was reading.
Oh, something vegetarian. My brain cannot be asked to come up with a vegetarian dish at this point because Ben's been eating a lot of vegetarian stuff recently.
Spaghetti squash.
Yeah,
Sure.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Sure.
Also, Yumiko is not sitting next to Courtney. Just so you
Oh, no. Courtney would be as far away from Yumiko as possible.
bite me, mage boy.
He's not a mage.
Don't care.
But yeah, she's pulling the thing up the phone, fighting with her cat, but puts the phone down so everyone can see where that message that actually Matt just wrote out is. That's what I found.
Well,
I mean, I could look deeper into things, but that was the first source I found in God knows how long I was looking.
And trust me, the internet's really, really weird about Wendigos.
I wasn't using the internet.
Oh, I figured. Otherwise, you found the same set of creepy pastas as me.
That, like I said, I could probably find a source, but it'd probably be dating back longer. And who's to say that it's the same thing at that point?
True enough. I mean, as my own looking into it is kind of revealed, the normal people tend to have a fixation on like antler being iconography when it comes to the occult. But I'll look into it. This could be something interesting. But I will say that nothing on the other side has ever referred to me as hungry spirit. Weirder things, child of antler, the arbiter, never hungry spirit.
Huh.
And in the language they speak in, that doesn't really have the capacity to lie. At least not in the normal way.
She kind of like blinks for a bit, like considering that, and like sitting back in her seat. So the spirits are truthful at best.
I wouldn't go that far. Spirits are... God, I wish I'd gotten more than a crash course in this. They are very drawn into what things are and what they do. Form begets function, function begets form, and round it goes. You don't really lie about what you are. You can omit things, you can deliberately mislead things, but you don't lie in the conventional way, if that makes sense.
Brooke, you're having flashbacks.
Oh, goody.
Very subtle flashbacks. Like, oh, hey, I know what he's talking about.
What were you saying again, Josh?
That spirits don't lie in the conventional way, that you have to basically deceive through omission or through misrepresentation. You can't just outright lie. Things are very about what they, as Ben put it, function begets form and form begets function. What you are is what you are, and what you are is what you do.
Uh-huh.
But that said, yes, they can be very capricious and out for themselves. He looks over at Courtney. This would be a good thing to note.
Wait, say that again?
Courtney, this might be a good thing to note, considering you're going to have to deal with them too.
I noted it.
I don't think I fully understand this. Why would he?
Apparently, when we were at the auction, Courtney has the same ability to walk to the other side as I do. But it works differently.
She's just kind of looking between the two of them.
And Ben looks over at Courtney.
Like I said, I have no idea what I am.
So, what I am, I basically kind of exist in both sides at once, right? And when I step over, I take my physical self with me. I just kind of poof, and I'm gone. Courtney doesn't seem to do that.
Nope.
And you've said you've died, and this all. Well, we went over this. You died.
I died. And
Sounds stupid and going off of movies here. You don't have any weird, like, hungers for things?
I could really go for a Twinkie right now.
That's not what I meant, but, okay.
No. No odd cravings.
You don't. Well, I mean, ghosts had salt and iron. You can eat salt, right?
Yeah, I like salt.
Huh.
Jesus Christ, are you trying to say that he's a zombie?
No, I'm going through, like, him possibly being like a ghost or something. That's just physical.
Well, you said odd cravings earlier.
Oh, yeah, I will say the first one
Brains.
I did have to roll out zombie.
Definitely not a zombie. I still
Of
have a
course not.
pulse.
And he would smell. Oh, wait. I can't smell.
Yes, you can.
Unless I force herself to.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's the difference between I can't smell and I can choose not to.
Therefore, she chooses not to.
But yeah, I had went through zombies, for some reason solid ghosts.
Oh, believe me, since my death, I have been trying to find out what exactly I am. So far, nothing.
You haven't been hungry since then.
I won't say that I have to eat, but I can. I don't have to sleep either, do
I don't think so. Let me double check that.
I? Okay.
She's kind of like frowns. That doesn't really help.
Not really, no.
There's a lot of things that. Well, no, actually, there's not a lot of things that aren't hungry and don't have to eat. But then again, you're the classification being dead too. That doesn't help.
But I'm not
Oh,
necessarily dead. My body's alive. I have a pulse.
Jimmy, there's one thing as I was looking this up. I missed this line.
Oh.
So yeah, that language that Ben was just talking about, where you can't lie in it. Yeah, you speak that. It's as much an instinctual thing for you then as it is a knowledge thing.
So I can't lie in that?
Not while you are speaking it, no.
Okay.
And yeah,
It's like fairy things. Like you can lie by omission, but you cannot look at a blue pen and say that pen is red.
Okay, so you can kind of skirt the truth. You just can't outright lie.
And you can
Exactly.
you can also misrepresent things, but so yeah, there are ways
Like-
to
Go ahead.
there are ways to manipulate people in it. There's just not, because otherwise no spirit would ever make a bad deal, and Ben's point would be purposeless. But it's hard because it's not a matter of it's a matter of symbols and the intentions behind symbols.
Oh, okay.
If someone says a tree, they literally are meaning not the word tree, but the meaning behind tree, if that makes sense. Language before it was language. Before
No,
we
that
had
makes
symbols.
sense.
Yeah. Anyway. In character, where was the conversation?
We're still trying to figure out what the fuck I am.
And I kind of ran out of things that I know that, have died and aren't hungry.
Well, we'll just have to keep looking into it. In the meantime, Courtney, I should probably take you out on a few of my little walks I do each evening and show you what I've learned about the city and how the spirit world works.
Well, that'll be very interesting. The courthouse was something I was not anticipating.
Honestly, I wasn't either. I just thought that someone might have been muddling on the other side to influence people on the physical side of things.
That's why I did it too.
But we probably shouldn't both do it on the same time and leave everyone else hanging.
Honestly, I didn't know you could do that.
Mika, you're reminded of the question that the prince had from the issue at the courthouse.
Oh,
Don't. Oh. Something you want to bring up, Yumiko?
no, I just had a thought. I'm okay. Everything's.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
What I don't really understand is the fact of why my stuff would have people interested in buying it. I mean, beyond the fact of, normal people interests, but majority of it was just books.
Ben looks over to Yumiko. That would be a little scheme on the part of Mr. S, wouldn't it?
Is he the guy that you keep saying about the fucker not wearing socks?
Who, me?
Overall.
Yes, that would be him.
Why was he interested in Natalie's things?
It's not like you guys can do gardening.
I personally wouldn't know. I do know that he said he was helping clean up a mess.
That doesn't exactly add up. I mean, if he's referring to the fact of, knowing about kindred,
No.
we didn't know about you turning until after.
No, he's... I get it. Cleaning up a mess. He was making sure that all of your possessions ended up in the same place. No one got anything that might have been attached to you that might be attached to all the weirdness. Or us, or could be used to trace back to us, and thus Yumiko.
That seems to. I
Convenient.
understand. Yes, because I understand the idea of things not being traced back to her and thus him, but it sounds too neat and tidy.
Ben shrugs.
Also, it would make sense that he was bidding against Yuma.
Ben shrugs again.
Mm.
I mean, if it was just to keep it out of somebody else's hands, as soon as he saw Yumiko bidding on it, that shouldn't have been an issue.
Maybe he just wanted to test what we do.
I personally don't like that. I really don't.
Well, he is an asshole.
Well, that's besides the point.
It's all okay. It's all okay now. Like, either way.
I mean, we couldn't really buy all your stuff anyway.
That's also true.
I could care less about that, honestly.
We
It's
did
more.
buy all the stuff, though, didn't we?
We bought all the stuff
No.
that Natalie wanted to get, but not everything that came.
Oh, okay.
Except for Brooke. Brooke bought her things that she did not ask for.
Yeah, Yumiko did too. A purple dress or whatever.
I assumed Yumiko kept that because of her vanity.
Yes.
It's mine now. You can't have it. You owe me.
So, to be
You
fair,
owe me blood donations.
Brooke tried to buy her things that seemed sentimental,
Either.
which turned out to be her smut and her mother's ring.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the smut.
So, but moving forward. So, me and Yumiko were talking about this. Like, I brought it up a little bit in the courthouse, but I think it needs to be said with all of us. We do need to be careful about all this supernatural stuff and not bringing attention to it. I think, as I put it at the moment, the first rule of Fight Club needs to be not to talk about Fight Club.
Agreed.
And when we're out in public, we need to avoid certain words like vampire, kindred, or
Warden.
warden, so on and so forth. How did I put it, Yumiko? That night?
Huh?
I don't know. I said something. Cutesy language. Like, talk about in a way that's going to be obvious for everyone in the group, but not obvious to anyone who's listening in or might be walking by in a parking garage.
You mean we use pet names for everything?
Don't take it down this road, Caitlin. Don't.
Oh, come on.
No.
She'd been down that road with you before.
Shush your face,
They
Nat.
only went down. They only went on one date.
And you're going to tell me Caitlin didn't try and give him a pet name over the course of the evening?
That would have been super awkward. Please say that she did not do that.
Maybe that's why it was only one date.
She probably did not, but at this point, she's kind of tempted to.
I'm not saying use pet names. I'm saying use innuendo. And names that aren't our names. Like, I know a few of us got them. Brooke is
So
Did I tell you guys mine?
basically,
She looks at Brooke to continue.
never mind. Don't worry about it.
something bothering you.
Just you're explaining this to the group of us as though you assume we're all idiots. Of course you don't talk about it. At the very best, someone will think you're crazy. At the very worst, you get something's attention.
Natalie actually just sits there with like a flat look of, oh, now you all think it's crazy.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to be condescending about it. But she's completely right.
I highly doubt I'm going to be going out in town anytime soon, flashing around some of the things that I can do. So I don't think, at least in my case, you have to worry.
You don't know that.
Ben,
You should always worry.
I don't want to make myself look
Always.
terrifying and cause everyone in the area to run in fear.
Shots fired.
Yumiko gives her a look.
Whoever said that would be the thing that happens.
Me, because I know that's what I can do.
Ben gives a little grin. Now that is interesting news.
I mean, I could too, sort of.
See,
I think
I highly
that
doubt we're going to do
most
it.
of us could.
The point is, we don't know which of us is going to be needed at any given time, and we should probably be prepared for the unexpected.
But just, I highly doubt any of us are just going to actively go out and do something. Like Brooke said, something good to be watching. And also, I don't know if anything would provoke us to ever want to.
On that first point, we live in the 21st century. Everything's watching. Everyone has a camera in their pocket. So, there's that. And it's not the big things, like me growing antlers in the middle of town square. It's the little things.
Have you been having a lot of conversations with people about things out in the open, Ben?
Only when we're all together.
We're all together here.
That's true, but this house isn't bugged. I believe Caitlin made sure of it.
Very. Eh, eh, At least it's not bugged by anyone else. She gives a
Alright.
smile.
So where is this coming from then, Ben? If you aren't out there having conversations, why do you think the rest of us are just running around willy-nilly making all sorts of slip-ups and weird claims or whatever?
I'm not being accusatory. I'm saying prepare for the future and put habits into practice so there aren't any future slip-ups. Because I know that you and Natalie and Courtney aren't really interacting too much with others. Courtney tends to shop. You and Natalie mostly stay here.
I got a job. I work.
Yes, but well, let's face it, you were the first one to
Yeah,
actually...
yeah. I work alone. Yeah, I got it.
No, that's not even what I was going to say. You were very apt in calling me on my shit just barely. I don't think I have anything to worry about as far as you.
It just,
She does
it was a
have
little,
a point.
it just came across as a little condescending, you know?
That wasn't my intention, I'm sorry.
I don't think anyone here's made any mistakes yet. And it's gonna happen. It will. I understand. But I don't think we need to talk about it like we've already made mistakes. We know what's at stake here. At least I know very well what's at stake here. Maybe not all of you. I don't know. But I know very well how dangerous things are. Very, very well.
And maybe my paranoia is just being born out of the fact that I'm taking those walks and realizing that there are a lot of things that you guys can't even see that are very dangerous. I mean, hell, 15 minutes walk from our backyard. Oh, there's a creature that literally the rest of the spirits think of as the boogeyman.
Wait, what?
Yeah, her name is the Black Mother of the Shadow Pines, and she's a very big spider. And Meta's typing, hang on.
I was just putting it there as a to be read in case it gets misheard or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, she's...
Captions.
I've already had a run-in with her.
Good or bad?
That's currently up in the air. I think that she's a predator, and therefore to be respected like a predator. I think she scares a lot of things. But I also think she could potentially be useful.
Can spirits interact with the normal world?
Yes,
Sometimes.
if they're powerful enough.
Valgus Lacuna is just kind of floating above the table, just kind of observing and listening. Only Courtney can see it.
Wait, I thought somebody else could see it.
I could
Do you have that power active right now?
generally, yes.
Oh, then there's a lot of creepy shit that you and I need to actually talk about that you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're keeping that on all the can you even keep? I thought it cost mana.
Nope. Doesn't cost anything.
Brooke can also do it with her kenning, but that requires, I think, a payment of something, doesn't it? Like a dice roll.
She keeps it on quite often.
Okay, so as far as the comment that was just made, for Brooke to do it requires spending resources and making a roll. So it cannot be perpetual.
Right. I have to spend, I believe it's a willpower point, and I'm actually, basically I am actively trying to discern if there is something there.
I can only do things that are possessed.
I mean, like I said, it's 15 minutes from our backyard in the conventional sense. By distance, that gets a little wibbly, considering we're talking about Deep Shadow and traveling through various other worlds, but I can make it in about 15 minutes. But I'm also pretty fast, so... Don't worry. I think so long as I look after her, she looks after, well, herself, and won't bother us.
Well, will she not bother us or you?
And then there is the argument of what if we do something that we don't know provokes her?
Probably up to me and Courtney to deal with that then.
So this is something that I'm gonna have to be introduced.
Probably. I mean, I was kind of planning.
Josh.
Yes, Matt.
He is okay, so this is more just an out of character clarification, because I'm certainly willing to let people have misunderstand information in character, but Courtney is a spirit, not one of the changing breeds, and so therefore is not responsible for anything other than following his own nature, which as a human spirit means he is also free to determine what that nature is to an extent. So Courtney is not required or compelled by his nature to police the spirits like Ben is.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure that was clarified out of character.
Right,
you may
but
continue.
But since Courtney doesn't really know what he is, I don't think he knows that.
Exactly. It's just if it ever gets to a point where there's a conversation where Ben's talking about oh yeah, you just kind of feel it's like an instinctual urge or whatever. Courtney can just be like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Just slow head nod. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was just the clarification for the players.
Right.
Yes, as you were.
I mean, if you want to be introduced to her, that's up to you, man.
No, I probably should, considering it's essentially our backyard, and if I'm gonna be doing this whole spirit walking whatever, I shouldn't be pissing anything off. The last thing I need is another thing. Although I'm kind of curious about how her reaction is going to be, considering the judge called me an anomaly.
Yeah, that was weird.
Natalie ends up like, dragging her phone back, starting like making notes of these names.
Heck, I should also probably show you Gig Harbor. And I don't mean the city, I mean literally the manifestation of the city. Because that exists too.
Yeah, I really haven't been doing very much of this.
Well, get ready to do a lot more of it.
Yay.
You'll probably want a name to call yourself too while you're dealing with spirits. I'm trying to earn mine now, but you can probably just pick yours. I don't know if the same traditions apply.
I have a question.
What is it?
Um, whatever it is you're talking about again.
The shadow, yeah.
No. The mother.
Oh, Black Mother of the Shadow
Black
Pines?
Yes.
What about her?
Can you make any formal contract with pledge? Can you force her to remain in line so long as you hold up your end of the bargain?
Yeah. That's something you can do with spirits. I mean, every spirit has its nature and it has to uphold its nature. So if you make it hold to a deal, then it has to hold to that deal. That's kind of what me and Courtney learned at the courthouse, was that what did the judge say exactly? I was trying to very, very hard not to piss that thing off.
I would try and remind you, but I was a little bit floored by it.
Basically, that the judge offered me that if I ever found someone who transgressed against the promises they made, I could bring it to her, to have it formally punished by that court's laws. Essentially, I think that's what she was calling. She kept calling me the arbiter.
Josh, if you would like to make an intelligence, what's the crap? There's a dice pool for remembering things. Intelligence plus composure. If you would like to roll that, we can determine if Ben. Okay. What was specifically promised is if in your duties as a punisher and as an arbiter of the spirit, the laws of spirits and all that jazz, if there was ever a point where like another spirit was like trying to say you didn't have the authority to do it, to go to the judge, and you had the ability to bring them to the judge, and it would enforce a fair trial by the laws of the shadow.
Okay, so I'm going to try and ape that back in Ben speak. Yeah, basically that if anyone said that I didn't have the right to intercede, that if I could bring it to her, that that it would basically back me up on my right to enforce it as the arbiter and the punisher. Ain't that a comic book character?
Yes.
So I guess that's what I'm supposed to do as far as that side of things, which is news to me. The wolves, they basically act like border guards, or that's what they told me. And they didn't know what I was supposed to do. I guess I find people who aren't acting in accordance with their stuff, their nature, and punish them for it.
That might help in finding some information for you. Making note of that.
Go for it. What about everyone else?
What about everyone else?
Have that you guys had any problems on the weird side of things?
I've not problems per se, beyond what started this whole mess.
I more just have questions myself.
But Ben, I did have some ideas. She gives a quick glance at Natalie, like unsure how much she should say in front of her, but she's not really.
At that look, Natalie actually flat out looks at Caitlin. They're not watching.
Hey, I just wanted to double check before I said anything.
You would know if they were watching by looking.
That's why I looked at you.
They haven't been watching for I don't know, days, months. Well,
Definitely
months.
weeks.
So they've let you kind of off the hook. They're letting you roam free to see what you'll do.
That pretty much was the week or so before, after the ritual.
Well, and as an aside, also, as a point Natalie might take into consideration, she spent a lot of time at the library. They kind of know what she's been up to anyway.
So, I've been researching spirits because that is what they are. And we have this whole idea of this plan in mind of let's do something about them. And do you think that the werewolf pack that you have been in contact with might be okay with answering some questions for me?
That's rough.
Specifically concerning ritual magic?
Maybe. But they'd ask for something in return.
Everything has a price.
A favor.
And Josh,
Yes.
go ahead and make your composure and intelligence roll again. Or better yet, let's make this wits and empathy. Oh, this is unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
I don't have any empathy.
Oh.
I will let you, in this particular case, add a bonus die for your purity renown.
Okay. One success.
Ben, you know that while you personally know and trust Courtney, or not Courtney, sorry, Caitlin, and her vendetta, functionally, And you know that it is in line within your nature to support this. The wolves are driven by pride. She is not a changing breed. They may not, like where the spirits looked at Courtney and called him an anomaly. She is something that is capable of using spirit magic without essence. You don't think that they would be immediately violent about it, but like from what you understood of the conversation before, about because they know about the wardens, they just don't know what they are. It's definitely a maybe, but it's definitely going to be uphill.
So, that's. I'm going to put this as gently as I can. You're not really in that part of the world, Kate. And, for example, the spirits called Courtney an anomaly. You are something they don't understand altogether. Like, they knew what you and Natalie are, not what's up with you. And while I've given you a promise, they haven't. And I don't know if they'd be comfortable working with someone bound to what you are. In the off chance that ends up benefiting that thing. They have their pride, it's quite sizable. And so, yeah, you'd have to promise a very big favor or a return to make that come to pass. I could try asking them, but I just want to prepare you for when we get told no and leave.
I know that I can learn this elsewhere. I would prefer to do this by I want to do this by the book, by the spirit's book, by where no one can look at me and say that I cheated or whatever, even though there isn't really. Yeah. Anyway. And in order to do that, I would prefer to learn it by the book as well, by the people who specialize in this. Learning it from the ones who I should be learning it from. Because where I could learn it from, that knowledge did not come by the right means.
Ben slowly nods. I'll
What
ask.
does that even?
Go ahead, bro.
Well, I just asked what that even means.
The library is filled with all kinds of knowledge. But as you've seen with both Natalie and myself, that knowledge isn't always acquired by fair means.
Sure, whatever.
To put it, Brooke, like, I got an instinctive sense when I saw the thing hanging over Natalie's shoulder, that owl thing, that it was malevolent, not following the rules that it should. So, it's probably, if it's connected to this library, similarly breaking the rules.
If we could get you in front of the spirit, could you bring it to the judge?
If I have a way to transport it, that's the hard part. Like, I'm probably strong enough to grab an owl spirit pretty easily and haul it there.
It's not just owl is the thing.
Is it big?
It's owl bear.
And it's pretty big.
And then yeah, if I'd have to find a way to transport it there.
Now, as again a clarification, some of the younger ones of its brood are not nearly as big as Blackwing.
Yeah, but we want to go after the big one because they're the ringleader.
But the big thing being whether bringing it before the judge or not, I don't know that that's going to make a difference to them.
That all depends on the agreement you made with it. And if that agreement was unlawful.
It's still worth a try.
But dragging it to the judge, I mean, if we're dragging it to the judge, there's a long line to see the judge. He could potentially mess us up while in line.
That's also true, unless the judge was willing to halt court like before. And plus, I don't know what would happen if I fought with the owl that's attached to Natalie. Like, I don't know if it would hurt her or what.
I don't care if it does or it doesn't. It means a possible means to an end.
Possibly. But yes.
There are enough areas of knowledge that we could open up a passage to possibly. Well, there's enough areas of knowledge near usually courthouses, so
We'll look into this. This could work. But I want to make sure that it will at least give us a good result before we try. But it's a good hope.
Does anybody have prudence as their virtue?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, wait, no, my virtue is faith.
I do.
Did I change it to prudence?
I think you did.
I did
Yeah.
change prudence. Hi.
Okay, so for the characters with prudence, this isn't going to be like a willpower thing or whatever, but trial run off of a smaller owl bear. That silence is deafening.
As for Caitlin's request, like I said, I'll ask them. You seem really earnest, and I'll tell them what you said. Maybe that'll convince them, but I'll do my best. But we might want to also think of something that we could offer them.
I agree. I just wanted someone to know my reasoning.
It's a good reasoning.
I also kind of have a question of, do you think that asking some of the spirits around here could give a better like definition of what us as wardens are?
Deep breath. Maybe. Um, not a lot of spirits around here are what we call awakened. Like they don't think like people do. There are a few that I found that could answer such questions, and I know that there's another group of changing breeds in Seattle. They might know something. I haven't really sought them out yet, but they might know more.
I mean, we know that there's three of us, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't a possibility of more in the past. So maybe like when the spirits came across something similar, I don't really know.
Who is the third?
Mindwalker.
Mindwalker is not a warden.
She assumes so.
Oh, okay.
Did we not explain that she wasn't?
She did say that she was called something called a mage. So, like she never specifically said she was not a warden. She said she was a will worker, or a mage is another term, and that she did a thing to access the vault. To be fair, I don't think she ever said that she was not a warden
Okay.
explicitly. So,
But if you
Really,
say will worker
I
in front
had
of
thought that
Ben will know
Caitlin
it.
had.
why would Ben know it?
Because I assume he's got the werewolves would have given him the little stereotypical blurbs out of the book.
Yes. Did they, as far as out of the werewolf book, does
I had thought that Caitlin figured out that she wasn't just because she said she gave a life and not her service, and so that would make her different from us.
It'd either be will worker or mage that they would have declared it as.
They would have only referred to them as a mage. Will worker is more of an internal thing from the mage orders.
Good to know.
But yeah, so pretty much the gist of what I was trying to get at with the whole Matilda thing is whatever you want to say that your character inferred, like either Cassie not being a warden or for Natalie saying that they are, either way is fine. I wanted to clarify.
Gotcha.
As you were saying, there's three of you guys.
It's like there has to be more counts of us in the past.
How would we even look into that?
Don't. Other than on my end, looking through the books, I don't know. I mean, I could ask our big furry feathered friend, but I don't know if I'm gonna get a true, exact, flat out definition. I know you said spirits are kind of says as is, but even you said that I could possibly not get like a flat out answer.
So, a question for you two.
Mm-hmm.
I still have Mindwalker's little ritual notes hidden away. Is keeping them hidden the right move then? Just to keep more from being made?
I would bring them here.
But yes, I definitely would not share them anywhere. At all.
Alright. What about you, Yumiko? What's been going on with you? You've been quiet all night.
Well, I got to meet the Prince of Seattle.
Hey.
Don't kill your voice, Matt.
And I guess remember that I think it was called a priestess?
Prices.
Priestess. Words.
Ben nods.
Yeah, I met up with her again too. And apparently they both have the same suspicions as you do about my sire.
Well, it's good to know I'm not crazy. So what's that mean for you?
It means I have been accepted into the Vampire Society. I have been acknowledged. And to put it simply, I have free reign here and at school.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Pretty much. I also have to keep a very close eye.
So, Mika, you kind of stopped mid-sentence. We just got. I have to kind of keep a close eye, and then stopped.
A close eye out. Period. So I'm basically doing what I did before, only for different people now.
Do you need any help with that?
If I do need help, I will ask first. But I do need cooperation from you guys with something, though. If you guys can do it.
What exactly?
I know Ben and Brooke have nicknames, as so do I, but I need to use different identities for you guys as well. I don't want to name drop you guys and get you guys caught up in something that you don't. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to accidentally name drop you guys in front of anybody who doesn't need to know your names.
Caitlin nodded. I came up with a, I guess, shadow name somewhat shortly after I became a warden. It was recommended by Mindwalker. So you can call me Aoife.
That's pretty. I like it.
She shrugs, like, nod to my heritage, but I just thought the name was nice. Brooke, we're talking shadow names.
Okay, what I miss?
Caitlin's is Aoife.
I still say it should be pronounced oif.
Oi.
Oi for short.
Oi!
Don't make Cassie hit you.
Oh, Cass, you just missed Josh's comment. Because she took her headset off after I did that. Say it again, Josh.
Don't make Cassie hit you.
It's because she's violent.
Hey,
Spousal
I'm not
abuse.
violent. I took my headset off. I didn't hit him. I'm doing very well, thank you.
So
You sound like a recovering meth head.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
are all we're going to be doing is research? Because at this point, we're just reacting.
Oh, believe me, I'm doing more than reacting.
Are you?
She is doing a lot of planning.
No, I think Cassie's doing a lot of planning because the most I've got is out of you is ambiguous plan of eventually I want to go stick it to the owl bears.
That is currently the plan. She's trying to figure out how.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about killing a bunch of things because I'm probably the least combat capable person here.
Actually, that's a good question. If it comes to it, who here is going to defend our little mo-
Me.
Ben raises his hand, just like casually.
Yukiko or Yumiko raises her hand. I combined both names. Wow.
Wow.
Good job.
I
Hey.
can shoot a gun. Guns don't always solve anything when it comes to what we're dealing with at this point. And so my current method of defense is trying to ensure that we know when anything is going to be happening on our property as soon as it happens. And that trying to prevent anything.
Out of character, nobody actually addressed Courtney's question. It got hijacked by Brooke's question of who's actually good in a fight.
Which, out of all of the things that Caitlin got, freaking no combat stuff.
So basically, Caitlin is saying not her.
Yeah, it was a very long-winded way of saying I'm good outside of a fight.
She'd like to become good in a fight. She's just gotta do more experience point spending.
Let's face it, I can run at the speed of a small sedan. I hit like a truck. Most of my stuff hurts supernatural things. And I regenerate from injuries. I built this place, I'll defend this place. Well, not built, renovated, fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, my whole thing is that the reason why I brought this up is because we are just reacting, we are just researching. But I mean, if I'm going to be learning more about what I am, what's the end goal to that? Other than exploring the spirit realm.
Honestly, Courtney, you need to figure out what you are to know what you need to be doing.
I have been scouring any book that I can find for some sort of reference of what I am. I have found nothing.
Then stop trusting books.
That is blasphemy.
Just saying. You're about to enter a world with a bunch of creatures far older than any book ever printed.
Kind of in the amidst of this conversation, Verglis kind of is floating over by Courtney, and just like, you, it pretty much just kind of like reminds you, like, it's kind of whispering conspiratorially because it doesn't know which of these weird other people can see it anymore.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you won't find anything about what you are now. You are from, and I'm just summarizing this because I'm not going to bring out the fucking voice modulator, but it's pretty much like, you're not going to find a book, you won't find a spirit, you are something from beyond, or rather, you have been touched by what is beyond, even beyond the spirits.
I'm kind of curious if Courtney's gonna just turn and talk to him out loud.
I mean, you have to. It can't read your mind.
I know.
I did not
know.
give it that power.
Probably
No,
intentionally.
I'm just thinking about how loud he wants to be in response.
Caitlin can't hear him right now. And that
Get-
is a shame.
Caitlin can't hear Verglis, just for specificity.
Yes. I could, but she hasn't chosen to yet. Or,
Jimmy, your vice is that you're impulsive.
I know, and that's why I'm. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go beyond what?
Beyond the shadows that the stag walks through.
By the stag, I assume you mean.
It gestures towards Ben with
That's
one of
what I
its
thought.
starry tentacles.
Courtney, why are you talking to your shoulder?
he's not talking to his shoulder, he's talking to the thing that he has.
The eyeball.
What eyeball? What? Oh,
The eyeball of the stars.
Brooke, the way that you saw it and the way that I see it are significantly different.
Yeah, Caitlin sees a fart cloud.
Oh,
You were saying
that's
that I saw more detail the first time I saw it, but
Yeah, like you can see its general shape. It's not just an ambiguously fuzzy circle or whatever. It's like everything is super, super out of focus on it.
yeah.
Pardon my language, but what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, I think that's a very proper language to use right here. So our friend Courtney, go ahead.
Verglis. His name is Verglis.
It
Actually,
has a name.
Verglis Lacuna.
Verglis Lacuna.
actually, considering that Ben went crazy because he saw eyes, this doesn't seem that unusual.
When
If it were
Ben
the same eyes, I believe I'd be able to see it.
when Ben takes me, the only reason why Ben didn't meet Verglis in the first place at the courthouse is because I was having him follow the rats.
Also, Jimmy, he exists within Twilight, which is like the ethereal plane over the material. You guys went straight through the gauntlet into the shadow.
Oh, okay. Well, I I I don't know exactly how much Courtney knows. So
Verglis would have specified. He is following you are he is anchored to you and follows you through the realm of ghosts. You went through the realm of spirits, which he can cross back over, but you kind of have to pull him with you.
Okay. I will introduce you, Ben, when we go into when we go for one of your walks. How's that?
Sure. I'd be glad to meet this thing that apparently people have seen, but I cannot.
I mean, I can't see it either.
Yeah. I need to find a way to get some form of a site that doesn't work on dead people. But that's not just for dead people.
Ben, actually, I have an idea. You mentioned that the werewolves are like guardians of the barrier, right?
Yeah, they watch the boundary between the physical and the immaterial. Yeah,
The gauntlet.
the gauntlet.
Is there a possibility they might know what I am?
Fergus is shaking its eyeball.
Shaking it in the formation or the yes formation?
That would be called nodding.
Oh, yeah, true. Sorry, it's late.
It's all good.
Damn it.
I take it your friend just confirmed that would be a no.
It was an idea.
If you could give me more information or key things to look up, if Fergus knows anything, I can see what I can find.
Okay. When I died, or when I was brought back to life, it was 2 weeks after I. My body had decomposed. Do I know that I formed the body, or was I just woken up and?
Yes, you like pretty much like as you finally came back to your senses was like as you were forming it. That's why you know how to reform it should you die again.
Okay. I know that my body was decomposed. I made this body. And I think I could do it again, which kind of makes me think, along with the not eating, that I think I'm kind of immortal. I don't know how immortal I am. I'm just
You said 2 weeks. Doesn't a
yeah,
body usually take like years to decompose?
months, but
But decomposing to the point of not being able to use it again, I mean.
Needless to say, she's making more notes, like a separate document note in her phone.
She looks at Yumiko to verify, like, doesn't take long. You know, we totally have a doctor here. Almost.
For a moment, I thought you were making a comment about her being, residential dead woman.
Rude.
same.
Trying to become a doctor, guys.
I know.
I mean, there was already the comment about somebody being a zombie.
Yes, you're correct. Maybe you couldn't use the body and had to make a new one?
Maybe there's almost the entirety of the 2 weeks I was kind of in a haze, so I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember needing to reform the body.
Ability to reform body.
Okay.
Immortal Man, not Dorian Gray.
And I don't need to eat or drink. I don't think I need to sleep. I don't need to, but I can.
I mean, okay, that's a lot of things. But
You don't remember any weird ritual, prayer, song, anything of the sort?
I remember a giant fiery eye.
now we're starting to sound like Doctor Strange. I mean, not entirely, but
Alright. Any specific words said, maybe?
Not that I can remember.
Now, question: is this not that Courtney can remember, or not that Jimmy can remember?
Not that Jimmy can remember.
Would you like to make a roll to recall things?
Sure, why not?
Oh,
Okay.
What am I making? What am I rolling?
You're rolling. Was it Josh? Intelligence and composure.
Yep, intelligence and composure.
That one.
Intelligence and composure.
And you do not have eidetic memory, so go for it.
Oh,
Okay.
true. Neat.
So, here's the gist of it. You remember that it was curious, that there were things happening around you that it wanted to know about, and that it was going to free you by opening your eyes. And in exchange, it was going to learn, is the gist of what the really long conversation was.
Right.
And pretty much and then it touched you and you died, and Verglis was kind of a side effect of as you were wandering your way back through the shadow before you got back to the shadow proper, as you had seen it say. So when you were leaving where the Hunger of Stars was talking with you, it took you forever and a day to get back to anything that resembled the shadow like you saw it in the courtroom. And then you kept, and so before you got to the part that was more familiar, more closer, you found Verglis, and it offered to come with you. As long you would pretty much be its anchor, but it would serve functionally. And you in your stuporness agreed, and then you eventually made it back to the gauntlet, and you crossed the gauntlet, and then you found your body, and you're hovering over it in twilight, and formed a new body.
So I will really relay most of that. I will also bring up that there was no deal made. He just kind of did it, and then there's nothing that Courtney has to do in return.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those. Courtney was told what's going to happen rather than asked.
All the while, like Natalie is making like notes of like important, but important bits down in her phone. So you got the fantasy story beginnings of a chosen one, is what it sounds like. Like some big thing just went, you know what? I like you. That doesn't sound good.
Really? Because what about any of this that has happened to us in the past 2 months has been good for any of us?
Oh no, I got a month to think.
I can press the car. That's pretty cool.
I can finally get my cat to stop sitting in my chair.
You're welcome.
Oh no, I just have to look at it and tell it to get down.
Well, I'm glad you all had such a good time.
I would say that not much in the last month has been great, but we're dealing with it.
No, being trapped in a doorless, windowless cabin for multiple days until I figured out, oh yes, you can somehow pop to another world. That, yeah, that wasn't fun. Learning most of it wasn't fun.
So, so I what is our goal as this group is to just deal with our problems?
Basically, like, much as I hate to say it, I don't think anyone's going to look out for any of us. So probably best look out for one another.
Let's be fair here, Courtney. All of us were just shoved into the deep end. If we don't right now, yes, it is dealing with everything that has just happened to us. I think that yes, we should find a direction. We should, you know, take what we have and find something to actually accomplish. First, it's figuring out what the consequences of what we are actually is. It's, figuring out a way for Natalie to live a life. And for me, getting rid of these spirits.
or at least making sure that you and Natalie aren't shackled to them anymore.
Oh, I'm not.
Well, then maybe that's what we should all do. That
Well,
seems to be the most pressing goal.
you know what? That's all fine and good. You do that. My primary concern is to keep myself and the rest of you safe.
But finding a way for them to be unbound to these spirits would keep them safe for the most part, at least from them.
I am no longer bound to the spirits. I did that by instead binding myself to the physical library itself. We don't know what will happen if we get rid of these spirits while Natalie is still bound to them.
Well, we need to find a way to get her unbound.
That's up to Natalie.
She kind of like bites her tongue.
It tingles.
She is the only reason that Caitlin is even saying that is because Natalie and her had a talk last time.
Look, I can't do a lot, but I will help in any way that I can because, strange as it seems, you are the closest thing that I have as friends.
Verglis looks a little bit concerned about that statement,
Oh,
and its tentacles slump. It is apparently not a good enough servant.
Oh,
oh.
Burglas, you are more than fine. You're a friend too. You are in this room, aren't you?
Yumiko just rolls her eyes.
Its stars seem to twinkle a little bit more. Anyway, speaking out of character, it is now 9:30. I don't think
Yeah,
this
it's
scene's really going to
getting
be
really-
going anywhere else. So, was there any other points that people wanted to bring up in character before we wrap things up?
I think Brooks was gonna be like, you know what? That's all well and good. If you want to play Ghost Hunter, go right ahead. Ben, Yumiko, if you want to play, if you're serious about wanting to be defenders here, come see me.
I figure out how to help Brooke, but I don't know what Brooke needs help with.
To get a fucking cake on the table without her tossing it through a window.
You know what? If Caitlin never has another slice of cake in her life, she'd be fine with it if it made Brooke feel better.
Is that a cupcake? No, it's a muffin. I swear, it's a muffin.
It's a muffin with
That's just a
frosting.
pygmy cake!
It's a muffin with frosting.
Honestly, I'm gonna do both. Because I think I can handle both.
I only want to bring up the fact that from the months the at least 2 months of being in the connection to the spirit, it hasn't done anything to harm me or you, Caitlin.
I think that
It hasn't asked anything of us.
no, but in the beginning it asked us to either bring our friends over or kill them. And just the more that I learn about Blackwing of the Covetous Vault, and the more that I learn about these particular spirits, the less I want them to exist. And here has said, not right. Beyond that, I think the biggest difference between what happened with you, what happened with me, I was kidnapped and forced into my um, what's it called? Servitude. I was not given an option.
Well, that sounds awfully familiar.
It's almost like Storyteller had a theme with how everybody got yanked into their nonsense.
I get that they have not yet asked anything of you.
Some of your words keep getting cut out, so I'm beginning to wonder if your headset's even actually maintaining its connection.
I'm hearing her just fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, you can hear me through her microphone just fine because I was muted.
Yeah,
Yes.
we could tell.
But
I was-
her thing, she keeps saying like 2 or 3 words and it not coming through, and then it picks it up.
That's what I hear too, by the way. If I have been quiet over the last several weeks of game, it's mostly because I'm trying to parse out what everyone is saying.
And I only found out about how bad it's actually doing fairly recently. So, we haven't had a chance to work on it.
That's fun.
Okay. But yeah, what she Caitlin Aoife is saying, like, I do not want other people forced into a servitude like this.
And as for me, honestly, whatever the 5 of you need, whatever I can help with, I will. You're all my friends, my herd. I will help you with whatever I can. I promise you this.
So I tried to say that we were Ben's herd the other day.
It was not a nitpick about a you thing. It's just we're let's move on for a moment. You can get into it after. All right. Does anybody else have anything actually important to bring up for the scene, though?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay.
For that, anyway.
All right. So I know it was a very quiet talking night where not a whole lot happened, and the party's still split on what direction everybody's actually planning trying to do stuff, but that is us for the week. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Good night.